Hello, welcome to Bronx Journal TV. I am Lester Robinson, a student here at Lehman College. Today I am with the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., the Borough President here to discuss more about the 2020 Census and a complete count committee he has created. Welcome, Mr. President.
How you doing, Lester?
All right.
It's good to be here.
Good to be here, yes. Let's get straight to it. Why is the census so important? Can you explain more about the census, people who don't know about it?
So people should understand that the census is something that's written in our Constitution. The United States Constitution says that every 10 years we need to have a head count, so to speak, of everyone who lives in the nation. And it's so important because based on that head count, that's how the federal government is able to plan in terms of how to allocate resources. So for instance, a lot of people say, well, why do we have so many potholes? Why does this highway look like that? Why don't we have more school seats? Why are we overcrowded? Why don't we have better transportation or funding for transportation? Well, among other things, but one of the most important things is if we don't allow ourselves to be counted, then the resources won't come to the extent of the amount of people that we actually have in that population. So when we tell folks, get civically involved, go and vote, have some level of civic consciousness and responsibility. If you ask me, the biggest or one of the biggest civic things that anyone can do is to fill out the census application and allow for yourself to be counted.
Right, absolutely. We learned that the Bronx is losing money whenever there is an undercount.
Yes.
Can you explain how that happens and what are we leaving on the table when the census card is not filled out?
So that's an excellent question, Lester. Every 10 years, we try to do the best that we can to go out there and work with different organizations. I'll speak a little bit about the Bronx Complete Count Committee. In 2000, we had, I believe it was something like 57% of the households returned the application. So the way that it works is that the census sends application. It's a form, has about 10 questions. You fill out the 10 questions, you send it back. And this is for everyone, whether you're a citizen or not. You're supposed to explain how many people you have in your household, children. And so 57% in the year 2000 was not something that we were proud of. We made a stronger effort in 2010, and we went up to 65%.
Okay.
But that's still something where you can see that 35% of the people in the Bronx were not counted. So think of this. Think of when you do an event, and a wedding, a birthday party, whatever have you, right? You send out invites, and you plan for that event, the food, the chairs, the table, the space, predicated on how many people you know have said they're coming. So that's what like the census is. The census is a way for the federal government to prepare resources, and they send us invites.
Right.
The invites is the application. If we don't fill out the application, if not enough people fill out the application, then they only send out enough resources based on the amount of people or applications that are in. So if, for instance, if the Bronx has 1.5 million people living here, but only 1 million people were counted, then we only getting resources for 1 million people.
Right.
Even though we have 500,000 more, that means that we don't have enough money for school seats. Schools become overcrowded.
Right.
It means that we don't have enough money to repair the roads. The roads need fixing. The highways need fixing. We need more public transportation dollars, and so on and so forth. So what we have to do is what we've been doing, is working with the city of New York, the state of New York. We're glad that for the first time, I believe ever, the city council and the mayor put in funding for outreach. So has the governor. We have the Bronx Complete Count Committee, where we bring in all the stakeholders, non-for-profits, organizations, civic groups, tenant associations, community boards. The list goes on and on and on. Even unions, like the UFT, are coming in, and we want to go out there and make sure that we hire people from our community, make sure that we make our community feel comfortable and proud to allow themselves to be counted.
Let's get into the Complete Count Committee.
Right.
Can you expand on that, what it means and what it's for, as you stated?
So counting people in the Bronx, counting anywhere, is monumental, Lester. So what you need is help. And obviously, the census hires people, and the listeners, the viewers should know that if you're looking for a job, the census is hiring everything from organizers to supervisors, administrative, tech staff. They're doing all of that, and they can reach out to our office. And part of the Complete Count Committee, again, this is something that's an initiative with my office, with Julie Menon, who is the head of the New York City Census office, working with the U.S. Census. We bring everybody together, elected officials, everyone is coming together because we all understand, number one, how important it is to make sure that we have the best and most complete count, but we also understand that it's a lot of work, and none of us could do it alone. So we meet periodically. I think our next meeting is next week is our third meeting.
Okay.
And so far we have north of 35 different organizations and stakeholders, from community boards, again, to non-for-profits. And these are the folks that are volunteering, getting information out, and also identifying people in their immediate communities who they know that the community trusts,
right,
who understands the community, because we want the census to hire those kind of people. So they understand the community. The community will be more open to listen and hearing them out. We need people to go out there and shed light and educate people as to what the census is, when the applications are coming. And this year, by the way, what we want is for the majority of people, obviously, to fill out the applications. But they're doing it online, so
right,
now you can go online and apply.
Yeah.
So we also need people to go out to senior centers and maybe in different neighborhoods who can offer that technical support. For everybody has a cell phone.
Right, yeah.
You can do it on your cell phone, but just that technical support of where to download the app and how to fill it out.
It's a good thing you mentioned communities. Are there any particular communities you're trying to reach out into in particular, specific?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone. If I had my magic wand and the efforts that we're doing, we want every single, not most, listen, not the majority, not the overwhelming majority. We want every community to be, every single person, every single child, from birth to every single senior citizen, everyone, whether you're in a hospital, whether you're in home care as a senior, whether you have 20 people in the household or one person in the household, we're reaching out to everyone. This is not just about Latino and African Americans. This is not just about minorities. We want everyone to be counted. It's the only way that in the Bronx, in the city of New York, and in the state of New York, we're going to get our due resources. And, representation is also predicated on the amount of population. So right now, folks are betting against us as a state. Folks are saying that we're not going to get counted, so we're going to wind up losing 2 congressional seats. If the state of New York loses 2 congressional seats, guess what? That's 2 less voices that we have fighting for our state.
Absolutely true. There's been a lot of talk about the citizen question. Is that really going to happen?
No, this is obviously a scare tactic.
Yeah.
Again, the census is not about whether you're a citizen or not.
Okay.
The census is about counting everyone, whether you're undocumented, whether you're a citizen, whether you have a visa. If you're here, we need to have you counted. Whether you're an adult, whether you are, again, senior citizen, whether you're a youth, underage, we need everyone. The citizen question, obviously, was something that this guy who's masquerading as president of the United States wanted to put in there with his cronies in order to scare certain communities, especially those that are immigrant communities that are undocumented. But people need to know that, number one, the question is not on. The court struck it. Number two, you have no fear. The questions that you have on the census is only for the purposes of the census and to get counted. In other words, no other federal agency. It is illegal, as a matter of fact. It is illegal for a federal agency or for even the census to give any information to any agencies, federal or state. And in the history of the United States, there hasn't been not one case where anyone can point to where the information that somebody filled out on the application was used by a particular federal or even local agency. Again, that's just information for purposes of counting, for knowing the demographics, for knowing gender, and so on and so forth.
One scenario.
So the question is not.
Right.
And no, I got to stress this, Lester.
Yeah.
Not only is it not, I believe that, and we want to let people know, you shouldn't be fearful.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the opposite should happen. We should all be proud. So if you are from a new community, if you're Mexican, if you're Ecuadorian, if you're Dominican, if you're Albanian, if you're Bangladeshi, what I would say is do this with pride and show the world, show the city that your community is here, that it is thriving, that it's growing in big numbers, and that you're not going anywhere. And so allow for yourself to be counted, doing it with a lot of pride. It's the way that in 2020, one community did that. It was a Dominican community in Washington Heights. And many folks will tell you that there are a lot of people in the Dominican community who are undocumented. But the leadership over there, the organizational effort that was given, the Dominicans came out in big numbers. They allowed for themselves to be counted. And right now, you can see that they're growing, and the 2010 census shows that. And not one single individual faced any kind of penalty, any federal agency visit because of the fact that they filled out that application in 2010. So that's a model that we want to continue to highlight to folks. And it doesn't matter whether you're documented or not. There should be absolutely no fear. On the opposite, there should be a lot of pride.
Excellent, excellent. Are there any events in the Bronx that we should keep our eyes out open for? Will the complete count committee be? What will the complete count committee be up to in the next few months?
So right now we are the complete count committee is coming together. It continues to grow. We're doing things with again. We just met with the UFT. They're going to add on to our efforts. The complete count committee is full of people in clergy. So what we're saying is we're trying to get at every event. We're trying to get into senior citizen centers. We're trying to work with the parents in the schools, working with the UFT, men and women in clergy at churches, synagogues, mosques, so on and so forth. We want to, every different religious persuasion or faith, we want to make sure that the leadership is there educating folks and bringing in the census, bringing in the complete count committee to be able to educate folks on what the census is in the way that we're doing it here. We're going to go to college campuses like here in Lehman. We're going to be going to malls and, as the weather gets a little bit warmer, street fairs. Every chance that we get, we want the census there through the complete count committee. And we also using the committee, again, to identify folks who can work from the community, from the Bronx. So right now, the census is doing something different that I believe is going to be effective. They are starting to provide teams within zip codes. And then they're splitting up the zip codes into sections. And then we want to actually hire people from those, not only zip codes, but from that section who fully understand the community. So where do you live, Lester?
I live on Gun Hill Road.
So you live on Gun Hill Road. If, we want folks like you not just to work for the census, not just to be in the Bronx, but we want you to be in that community in Gun Hill Road.
Right.
You live there, people know you, you know how to speak to them, they feel comfortable with you. You can go to them and say, hey, have you, do you know about the census? Do you know that the application is coming? Have you filled it out? If not, can we help you fill it out on your cell phone, or call the U.S. Census, or call this, this informational hotline or whatever, so that you can get more and more questions answered if you have any.
It's definitely a great way to branch out, because within the community, some people might not know about a certain topic, and if it's talked about a lot in that section, then the word will get out either through face-to-face contact or just through a text message, and it can just go out farther than that. So that's really, really good strategy.
We need to make this a movement.
Right.
And I would say that as a borough president, I even take this personal. I have challenged my other fellow borough presidents that percentage-wise, the Bronx will do better than the other boroughs.
Right.
So that's a challenge, and we want all Bronxites to help me win that challenge. We should all be looking forward to it and stepping up to the plate.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having you here, yes. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much.
Okay. If I can add one last thing, we want young people to get involved and we're going to be doing a whole social media campaign. The UFT is even going to do a contest. Yeah, I like hip hop. Do you like hip hop?
Yes, yes.
Do you know Casanova from Brooklyn?
Yes.
You know how he did the I'm So Brooklyn challenge? It went all over social media. The
Yeah.
Bronx got in it, then every other borough got in it, then it became worldwide. So that's what we want. We want young people to, either through spoken word, through R&B music, through hip hop music or whatever, to take this challenge of why is it so important to be counted. And we believe that once you create that movement among young people, in the schools in particular, then that would become contagious, especially at home with the adults. And so we can't do this without young folks.
Just one quick thing. Where do we get more info about the census?
So again, you can go to the U.S. Census we're gonna have to put the so it's .gov, uscensus.gov.
Okay.
They have their website. We're gonna do something collectively with the city of New York. We're gonna wind up having an app. We're gonna wind up doing a lot of social media.
Okay.
And we want everyone to be involved in the conversation. Allow yourselves to be counted is the most important thing that you will ever do as a resident of the United States. Not just a citizen, but as somebody who's living here, whether you're documented or not.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you,
here,
Lester.
sir.